Most self-help advice sucks, and we can understand this by asking a simple question. Why are you nice to people? In the book, Everything is Fucked by Mark Manson, he argues that there are 3 types of answers you can get based on 3 levels of maturity. Maturity level 1 is the maturity level of a child. A child will only be nice to people if it feels good to be nice to people, and if it feels bad to be nice to people, then they won't be. The childlike maturity just operates on, does something feel good? Yes, I'll do it. If something feels bad, I'm not gonna do it. Then there's maturity level 2, which is the adolescent maturity. We'll be nice to people if there's some kind of future reward at stake, right? Being nice to people is painful and it's difficult, but we'll do it if we're gonna get something good later on. This might look like being nice to a mean teacher for a letter of recommendation. Lots of incels will be nice to women purely so that they can get, hugs from them later on. And then there's a 3rd type of maturity called adult maturity. And this is where you'll be nice to people because it's the right thing to do. Self-help oftentimes appeals to the adolescent maturity level, and we're going to go over why this is a problem and how it breeds unhappiness. The adolescent mindset is based on minimizing pain and maximizing pleasure. Adolescents are actually very similar to the childlike maturity level. They only want pleasure more than anything else, and they absolutely hate pain, just the same way a child does. The only difference between the child maturity level and the adolescent maturity level is that the adolescent realizes that if you go through a little bit of pain, sometimes you can get even more pleasure than if you hadn't gone through that pain. So the adolescent constantly makes decisions where, again, they're minimizing pain and maximizing pleasure. They'll try and go through the lowest amount of pain possible to get the highest amount of pleasure possible. It is fair to say that the ideal state for an adolescent maturity level is all pleasure and no pain. They want to get to a point where they are completely, constantly in a state of bliss and pleasure, and the adolescent believes that this state is possible. So the way that the adolescent goes about choosing what to do with this life is by thinking of a pleasurable outcome that the adolescent wants. So they'll think about something like starting a multi-million-dollar business, having a dream physique, something like that. They'll start with the pleasure in mind, and then they'll work on the pain of getting there, right? So going to the gym, making a risky investment, stuff like that to start a business. There's a lot of problems with this though. Self-help idealizes this way of thinking, right? It says that you grind really hard, you push yourself as much as you can so that you can reach a level of success where you constantly feel happy and you feel good. Self-help is built around the idea of the hedonic treadmill. This is the idea where if you just reach a certain point, you will be happy. If I just buy a house, I will be happy. If I just get a relationship, I will be happy. If I just get this new car, I will be happy. And this is again due to that core assumption that self-help and the adolescent mindset has, that there is a state of pure relaxation, happiness, and joy and pleasure where there's no longer any pain. The problem is though, is that once you get to your mid-30s, people will have a midlife crisis because of this exact attitude. What happens is people will get to their 30s, they'll have all of the stuff that they thought that would make them happy, that they worked super hard for years for, and guess what? They still feel unhappy. This is exactly what happened to me in my early 20s very recently. I got all of the things I had ever hoped for. I got a 6-figure job straight out of college, was in a great relationship, had tons of friends, I had everything I had ever wanted, and I still felt like shit. So why is this? Why in the world is this assumption wrong? And why doesn't this hedonic treadmill way of thinking ever work and lead to happiness? And why does self-help fail us? To answer this, we have to ask ourselves, why is the adult happy? The adult realizes one thing that the adolescent does not realize. The adult realizes that there's no such thing as constant pleasure. There's no such thing as constant bliss. There's only one constant in life, and that is pain. They realize that no matter what goals you achieve, no matter what pleasures in life you get, there's always a price to pay. If you get a really big house, that means really big property taxes. That means you now have to upkeep a much larger lawn. Getting into a relationship might seem great at first, and you might feel like you're no longer lonely anymore, but now it means that you have to plan your life around someone else. There come lots of problems with relationships, disagreements, lots of stress, financial hardships. The adult realizes this, that no matter what you do, you will have problems and you will have pain. Unlike the adolescent chooses the pleasure that it wants and then goes through the pain to get there. The adolescent chooses the pain it wants and then feels happy. The adult is nice to people, not because they want to get anything out of other people. They are nice to people simply because that is a pain that they're willing to go through. That's a value that's important to them. The adult will not work hard or work long hours because they want success. They will work hard and have discipline to set a good example for those around them, expecting nothing in return for the hard work. Or they will work hard simply because it is the right thing to do, to give 100% of your effort. This leads to joy. The thing is, when you're chasing pleasure, pleasure is always fleeting. We always lose our pleasure after a little bit of time. Pleasure is something that's extremely illusory. Making a high salary may feel really good and is really awesome temporarily, but eventually you will settle down and you'll just want more. Getting a nice car might feel really good in the moment and it'll give you a really good peak high. You'll feel a lot of pleasure. But the thing is, after that moment passes, you have nothing left except for pain. What leads to happiness is never going to be choosing the pleasure that you want out of life. It will always come from choosing the pain. We will always have problems. So instead of trying to figure out a way to get rid of all the problems, which is what the adolescent is trying to do, the adult realizes this is fruitless. I will always have problems, so let me choose the problems that I want to have in my life. Instead of deciding that you want to get a dream body and then going to the gym every single day, what you want to do instead is ask yourself, do I like going to the gym every day? Do I like running? Do I like lifting weights, feeling really sweaty, and having to deal with the hassle of a gym membership and everything? And if the answer is yes, go for it. That's how you choose what you want to do in your life. You don't ask, do I want the end result? Everyone wants the end result. Everyone wants a dream body, an amazing salary, an amazing house, but very few people want to do the things that you have to do to get there. Find the struggles that you enjoy having. The thing that you have to understand, if you want happiness and if you want success, is to stop chasing pleasure and start chasing pain. You will always have difficulties and struggles and problems, so it's more important to enjoy those than to enjoy the fleeting highs that come from chasing pleasure. Chasing pain is the only way to have happiness follow you. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.